Kenya, the hidden face of Africa. Introduction. When people talk about Africa, most of them imagine the same picture: animals running across the savanna, poor villages, and safari tours. But in reality, both Africa and Kenya are much more complex than that. In this video, I'll show you parks where lions walk right next to the capital city, the system of polygamous families, the secret behind the world's fastest runners, a banking system built on mobile phones, and a culture where tradition constantly clashes with modern life. After this, you won't see Kenya as just a dot on the map, but as a country full of real people with their own lives, struggles, and joys. Kenya is located in East Africa. To the north is Ethiopia, to the west is Uganda, to the south is Tanzania, and to the east is Somalia. Its population is around 55 million, and its capital city is Nairobi. With access to the Indian Ocean, high mountains, volcanoes, vast savannas, and big modern cities, the country looks like a living geography textbook. Nairobi, the city where lions walk beside skyscrapers. When we talk about Nairobi, the first thing that must be said is this: it is one of the very few capital cities in the world that has a wildlife park inside its own area. Nairobi National Park is just a few kilometers away from the city center. On one side, you have office buildings and glass skyscrapers. On the other side, lions, giraffes, and zebras roaming freely. For the people who live there, this is no longer strange. Someone who spends the morning stuck in traffic can take their guests on a safari in the afternoon. This contrast is a symbol of Kenya's reality. A rapidly modernizing city standing right next to untouched nature. At the same time, Nairobi is one of East Africa's main technology hubs. Startups, fintech companies, and international organizations are based there. So in one direction, you see the classic image of Africa. In the other, you see a technological center people call the Silicon Savanna. Polygamy, a controversial side of Kenyan society. When you look deeper into Kenya, one of the topics that stands out is polygamy. In 2014, Kenya officially recognized polygamy, meaning one man can marry multiple women for certain types of marriages. In traditional and some religious marriage systems, a man is allowed to have more than one wife. There is a very interesting and controversial detail here. A man is not legally required to get his first wife's formal consent before taking another wife. This created huge debate and discussion across the country. In rural areas and traditional tribal communities, for example among some Maasai, Kikuyu, and Luhya groups, polygamous families are still quite common. There are several reasons for this. A large family is seen as a sign of status, wealth, and power. In agricultural life, more children means more working hands. In some cultural traditions, having many wives is considered a normal way to grow the family name and lineage. But modern Kenyan society is not united on this issue. In Nairobi and other big cities, especially among educated young men and women, this system is often criticized. Women's rights activists see polygamy as an unfair and outdated model. Running nation. Why do the world's fastest runners come from here? If you've ever watched athletics, you've probably seen Kenyan runners, especially in long-distance races, marathons, 5,000 and 10,000 meters. Kenya is almost always at the top. This is not a coincidence. The country's Rift Valley region is like a natural sports laboratory. Here, the altitude is very high. 2,000 meters and above. Living in such conditions makes the body produce more red blood cells, which increases endurance. From childhood, many kids walk or run long distances to school, or from village to village. This is normal daily life. Rural lifestyle, less fast food, more physical activity, works like natural training. Many famous Kenyan runners say they trained barefoot and grew up in very simple conditions. For them, success in sports is not just about personal fame, it's a chance to lift their entire family, sometimes even their whole village, out of poverty. A lot of athletes use the money they earn to build schools, roads, and water projects. M-Pesa, the mobile money system that changed the world. Now, let's look at something completely different: money and technology. In Kenya, there used to be millions of people without a bank account. The traditional banking system wasn't accessible to everyone. But there was one thing almost everyone had: a mobile phone. From this, a system called M-Pesa was born. Simply put, it's not an app you download to a smartphone. It's an electronic money system that works through the mobile network. It even works on old basic button phones. People can send money, make payments, even take small loans. And they do all of this without ever going to a bank, just by using their phone. This model later became an example for many other countries. But the starting point was Kenya. By making technology accessible to ordinary people, M-Pesa turned the country into a kind of mobile banking laboratory for Africa. Swahili culture, a cocktail of Africa and the East. If you go to Kenya's coastal cities, especially Mombasa and Lamu Island, you step into a completely different atmosphere. Narrow stone streets, white-walled houses, carved wooden doors, and in the air, the smell of spices, fish, and the ocean. Here, Swahili culture dominates, a unique blend created over centuries from Arab, Persian, Indian, and African influences. The Swahili language is widely spoken not only in Kenya, but across all of East Africa. You've probably heard the phrase, Hakuna Matata, that's Swahili, and it means no problem. Kenya has two official languages, English and Swahili. But it doesn't stop there. There are dozens of local languages. Among city youth, a street language called Sheng has formed, a mix of English, Swahili, and local languages. Using words from 3 languages in a single sentence is completely normal for them. Maasai, where tradition meets modern life. One of the most well-known ethnic groups in Kenya is the Maasai people. You often see them in photos and documentaries, wearing bright red clothes, holding spears, and covered in bead necklaces. They live a semi-nomadic lifestyle and place great importance on cattle, especially cows. For them, a cow is not just food. It is also a symbol of status and cultural value. Maasai youth are famous for their high-jumping dance, and it's not just a show for tourists. Traditionally, it represents strength, courage, and endurance. But there is an interesting contrast here. On one side, you have traditional clothing, customs, and a semi-nomadic life. On the other side, you have Maasai youth, who are getting an education, moving to cities, and starting businesses. They are trying to find a balance between the old and the new. In their daily lives, you can see both smartphones and centuries-old traditions existing side by side. Kenyan cuisine, a taste of Africa. Kenyan cuisine is one of the most colorful and diverse food cultures in Africa. It is deeply connected to nature, tradition, and everyday life. The main ingredients include maize, beans, rice, potatoes, bananas, and fresh vegetables. One of the most popular dishes in Kenya is ugali. It is made from maize flour and is served with almost every meal. Ugali is usually eaten with meat, vegetables, or rich sauces. Another famous dish is nyama choma, which means grilled meat. It is a favorite food during celebrations, family gatherings, and friendly meetups. It represents the social spirit of Kenyan culture. Sukuma wiki is a simple but delicious vegetable dish made from leafy greens. Its name means to last the whole week, because it is affordable and filling. In coastal regions, seafood and coconut-based dishes are very popular. Spiced rice meals like pilo and biryani are widely enjoyed and reflect the influence of Swahili and Arab cultures.